Well, the Obama administration continues to try and quench the firestorm raging now over the release of 5 top Taliban leaders in exchange for Army Sergeant Bergdahl. The White House has apologized now to lawmakers for the secrecy surrounding that prisoner exchange. Obama administration officials said they were concerned that had word leaked out about the prisoner swap that there was potential that Sergeant Bergdahl may be killed. Republican lawmaker Ileana Lehtinen, speaking today here on America's Forum, says that's not credible information. She said she and other members of the House Intelligence Committee were told of a potential prisoner swap back in 2011 and that they did not think it was a good deal.
I can tell you that the Republicans were dead set against it, and the briefer said, "We hear you loud and clear." We thought that this was a done deal, settled. That they knew there was strong opposition. I would say bipartisan opposition, but I don't want to speak for the Democrats. And still, they went ahead and did it.
Well, we have heard some Democrats express their concerns about the way this went down. Senator Joe Manchin among them. Representative Lehtinen also says she believes all Americans are now at more of a risk of being kidnapped in hostile territory because of the president's actions. Well, today, the D-Day ceremony, Russian President Vladimir Putin spoke face-to-face with Ukraine's incoming president about ending the violence there, in the former Soviet state. Putin says an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine is necessary to create conditions for talks there. And another American has been detained overseas. North Korea claims now that Jeffrey Edward Fall violated their laws. Fall entered the country on April 29th and was questioned by authorities for inappropriate conduct during his visit. This marks the 3rd U.S. citizen held captive. The U.S. State Department has issued an advisory warning not to travel to North Korea due to the risk of arbitrary arrest and detention. North Korea and the U.S. have a tumultuous relationship over Pyongyang's nuclear missile programs. And today, the U.S. economy added 217,000 jobs, notching a substantial gain for the 4th straight month. The figure is down from the 200,082 number back in April, according to the Labor Department. Job gains have now averaged 234,000 in the past 3 months, up from only 150,000 in the previous 3 months. The unemployment remains steady at 6.3%.
You're watching America's Forum on Newsmax TV. Welcome back. I'm J.D. Hayworth.
And I'm John Bachman. J.D., folks might remember throughout the last week here, we've been remembering the survivors of D-Day with their recollection in their own words. And we want to replay some of that and revisit some of their memories with them in their own words. Here is a recap of some of the folks who were there on that day 70 years ago who are still alive today, talking about the significance of the D-Day invasion and what followed. Take a listen.
I've thought many times the D in D-Day meant Death Day.
I don't care how tough you are. It gets you.
Every D-Day, specifically on that day, I don't forget who was there and what we were doing.
The odds of surviving were so slim. And to survive was something unbelievable.
Of course, we're all nervous, and we could see down, look down, we could see the silhouettes of the ships. And what I said in there, of course, was that when I saw all those ships, I said, well, if you have any doubt about it now, you look down there, this is going to happen one way or the other.
Every man that came through that machine gun fire and landed on Omaha Beach, every man was a hero. If they talk about heroes, these guys knew when they walked into that machine gun fire what it was.
And you could actually see the channels of machine gun fires in a beach. And you had to be lucky to be between those channels of fire.
We were about 400 yards off the beach when an 88 artillery shell hit my boat. It was blown up in the air. All I remember is the boat going up and over. I cracked my skull against the bulkhead. Next thing I remember, I'm laying underneath this rock wall on the left flank of Omaha Beach. 2 men, I was told, dragged me ashore.
The weight we had on our back, we'd take 1 step and slide back half a step, take another step and slide back.
Bodies all over the front edge of the water. They're just laying there, bobbing. I mean, it's amazing how you can be so immune to feelings. You know, you just look and it goes with the program, you know.
My fellow Americans, last night when I spoke with you about the fall of Rome, I knew at that moment that troops of the United States and our allies were crossing the Channel in another and greater operation. It has come to pass with success thus far.
When I go to cemeteries, as often as I've gone there, it gets me. It still gets me. I can feel it right now.
And Company C that waited ashore on Omaha Beach. And today, by my count, there's only 4 of us left.
It had to happen, or had to be successful, otherwise we'd be somewhere else today, maybe saluting Hitler, I don't know. I hope not Mussolini anyway.
All those years now, 70 years, hasn't erased any of the feelings that we had for our soldiers there, our buddies that we'd been with, and to see them die there will never leave your mind.
And as we talked about, JD, every single day we lose more and more World War II veterans, and there will be a day eventually when we don't have their voices to remind us of why this day is so important, and so that's why we play it. We'll have this videotape, but not having the veterans here to remind us will, of course, diminish the story a little bit, the ability to tell the story, I should say, a little bit, but it is important that we continue to tell it so that we never forget the sacrifices made on that day. And one more thing to share, I'd asked you before the show today, think about the choice, because of course there was the invasion on the beach, but there were also the paratroopers that went into southern France ahead of the invasion. And can you imagine the choice? What would you rather do, paratroop in behind enemy lines or face the gunfire on the beaches?
Well, one is tempted to say, for those of us who were untrained, who didn't have to make the decision, well, it's kind of like picking your poison. The important thing was, they did it. When the order came to go, they went. And this is something that stands to be remembered. There is no doubt, and we read historical accounts, that some who survived, especially on the beach there, at Omaha, that landing site, some talked about their comrades with the heavy equipment and the ships opening early and people drowning. Others talked about capable men primed for war, savaged by fire. Their dying cries to God and for their mother. There's no cowardice there. It's an expression of sacrifice. And the same thing for those airborne troops who went into the hedgerows, for the veteran I mentioned the first hour, D-Day, who broke his back jumping in that night. The important thing is, try as the heinous Third Reich war machine tried, they could not stop the Allies. They could not stop the Americans. And in a time when we have been called upon, whatever your beliefs, for whatever reasons, we stop short. We try to redefine a fundamental struggle between good and evil. We don't seek conquest or territorial expansion. We seek freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from terror. And we would do well to remember the examples of the surviving veterans of the entire conflict, but especially those who went ashore this fateful day 70 years ago.